Carnegie, for your warm welcome. We appreciate that. And for the parents who are just joining us, I've just received a message from the presenter, and someone has crashed into a pole in Ligony, and the Digicel internet has gone down, so he won't be able to join us virtually. So in his absence, I'm going to fill in. And since our scripture reading spoke about Jesus being obedient, I'm going to give you some tips on good discipline. Because when you administer good discipline, you do have to rise, lead, and certainly have to be wise. I'm sure you'll agree with me. But there are 4 parenting styles that we need to look at. There's a dominant style, letting somebody in. The dominant style rules and has strict boundaries, controlling, little warm. The neglectful style, few rules, given or enforces little or no boundaries. And there's the permissive style, few rules, high display of love and acceptance, but no rules. Then there's a balanced style that we all should aim for. Takes a little bit of the dominant, neglectful, and permissive, really. The balanced style maintains clearly defined rules, high display of warmth and acceptance. Look at those styles. Where do you fit into? Are you dominant, neglectful, permissive, balanced? What would be your style? How were you brought up? I think the way that we bring up children these days are very different from when we were brought up. But I'm going to give you some tips for good discipline, and maybe parents can help us, can tell us what they do so we can share and learn from each other. So here are some tips for good discipline. Sometimes when tasks and schedules get overwhelming, it's helpful to make a to-do list to make things feel more manageable and focused. If your children have behavior problems, sometimes you feel overwhelmed and not knowing what to do first. But here are 10 tips I'm going to give you for better behavior. Maybe they can help you, some of them. Number 1, invest in one-on-one time with your children daily. By far, the best thing you can do to improve your children's behavior is spending time with them individually every day, giving them positive attention and emotional connections they've worked hard and need. When they don't have the positive attention, they will seek out attention in negative ways and consequences, and other discipline methods won't work. Aim for 10 to 50 minutes a day per child, and you'll see measurable improvement almost immediately. Maybe even when you're on your way to school or on your way home. I remember when my children were young, I had to travel from Spanish Town to Kingston. And we used to do homework. We used to pray in the car. We used to do homework on the way home. We'd talk about their school day, what had happened with their teachers, what happened with a school friend. We could be so open then, and I found that maybe half an hour, 3/4 an hour trip to Spanish Town, we could share a lot. That was really a one-to-one time with my children. 2, children need sleep. Get serious about sleep. Think of how you feel when you're overtired. You get cranky, irritable, your head and stomach hurt. It's the same for children. And most toddlers right up to teens get far less than their growing body needs. Teens even need more sleep than some younger children. So consult your family physician about the hours of sleep your child needs. If your child has a sleep deficiency, try to move the bedtime forward a little bit. A well-rested child is a well-behaved child and can function better throughout the day, including school. I always used to say 8 hours sleep, but I was working with the grade 4 this week. We're doing reading. And one of the passages we had was about sleep. And in that passage, it suggested 10 to 11 hours sleep. That seemed to be a lot. I always say 8 hours, but in that passage, 10 to 11 hours sleep for a child. Focus on routines. Children like routines. They feel safe in routines. They like to know your rules too. Kids thrive with a routine, so set clearly defined routines for the most challenging times of the day, like morning and after school, meal times and bedtimes. Let your children help to decide how the routine will go. Do we get dressed or brush our teeth first? How can you help get dinner ready? For younger children, write out the order of the routine using pictures or words and let them decorate it, then hang it where they can see it every day. Then they'll stick to it and they'll learn to read that way too, the younger ones, if you put the words down. You see how quickly they learn to read those words. Let everyone pitch in for better behavior. Children need to understand that everyone needs to make some contribution to the household so it can run smoothly. Doesn't matter how small it is. All children from toddlers to teens should have family chores that they do daily. This helps bring the family closer together, teaches them life skills, and works to prevent the entitlement epidemic. Children shouldn't feel entitled. I know when I got home from school and my children were young, they had to clean their shoes. I look at some of the shoes I see in the classrooms today when we had physical school, and I think, wow, they've not been told to clean their shoes. That's the first thing I used to do on my arrival home. Clean your shoes. Get your clothes out for tomorrow. Put your dirty clothes in the wash basket and not on the floor. Encourage your children to be problem solvers. Time to retire your referee whistle. When parents step in the middle of sibling disagreements and determines who's at fault and dole out punishment, it actually makes things worse. To children, they see a winner and a loser and a need to escalate the sibling rivalry. Encourage your child to find a resolution to the problem on their own, which will help them solve conflicts as they grow older. That's important. They need that skill. If you have to get involved, don't choose sides, but ask questions. It will help them figure out a solution that all parties can feel good about. So we have winners, winners, not losers, losers. Simplify family rules and be firm. Children thrive in rules. If there are no rules, children don't feel safe. They feel safe when they have the rules. They know how they can participate in the house, and if they overstep that boundary, there's going to be a consequence. Let them know. It can be difficult for children to keep a mess of rules straight if it seems like you have 50 or so family rules. Whittle it down so that you have the most important rules there. Determine a consequence for each rule. Make it clear to children ahead of time of both the rules and consequences, and don't give in. They certainly have the rules and they keep them. Just the same in the classroom. We have to have our rules in the classroom, and there have to be consequences for overstepping the boundaries. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get any teaching done. It's probably the same at home for you. And now is a difficult time in the pandemic because they're at home with you all the time, adding extra difficulties. Send time out to the sidelines. Practically every parent has tried to punish or correct behavior by sending the child to time out. But most have found it doesn't work or lead to better behavior. That's because a time out in the corner or bedroom doesn't teach children how to make better choices the next time. And generally, a timeout just escalates a power struggle. Kids, especially the strong-willed, will push back and hard. Instead, focus on training, not punishment. Ask, what can we do differently next time? And role play the do-over. Don't administer physical punishment. That is not going to work. I was brought up on that. I don't say it hurt me that much, but that's not what we go with these days. Just say no to saying no. Children barrage us with questions every day, and more often than not, our answer is no, and children resent it. Find opportunities to say yes when you can. If your daughter asks to go to the indoor pool in the middle of a busy weekday, try saying, "Going to the pool sounds like so much fun. Should we go tomorrow after school or on Saturday? Wouldn't that be better?" Of course, there will always be things that will need a big no, but try to redirect them to a more positive option, and your parents can be creative. Don't worry, be happy. Be the example you want your kids to see. Think about how your children might describe you to their friends. Would they say you're fun and lighthearted, or that you're stressed and bossy? Try changing your energy by simply smiling more. It will help you keep calmer in times of stress, and your children will notice and keep their behavior more positive too, which is what you want. Don't ignore the source of misbehavior. Misbehavior is always a symptom of a deeper issue. And when we can find out what causes it, we can use the right strategy to correct it. If Bella keeps dumping toys all over your desk, is she upset that you've been working all afternoon? Is Bella throwing a fit over having the blue plate because she really wanted to make a choice and feel independent? In the midst of misbehavior, stay calm and ask yourself, what might be causing it? Just the same way as we have to ask ourselves in the classroom, sometimes behavior changes. What is causing this? What is causing this boy, this girl to behave in this manner? Something has gone wrong. Cut through the chaos by following these tips, and you'll start seeing better behavior from your children, and you can start creating a happier, more peaceful home. And what I'm going to do, I remember in times gone past when we could have physical workshops, we'd give out these nice little handouts. I'm going to scan it and send a copy to teachers to send out to parents, so you can all have these tips for good discipline. And what about parents sharing with us? What do you do, parents, to discipline your children? What special things do you do? When my children were growing up, I used to use rewards, especially if their work was good, especially if they did the chores in the house. And maybe I showed a bad face when I looked into a bedroom and saw the place strewn with clothes or shoes. What do you do? Is there anyone who'd like to share? Or any teacher would like to share? What do you do to discipline your child? Tell us some positive things that we can all learn from each other. No parent, no teacher would like to share. And I'm certain you all have good ideas. You're all there at home trying to discipline your children. No one is going to share. How about getting the homework done? What do you do to get the homework done? What I did, I had a time each day. They'd shower and feel nice and fresh, have something to eat. Then they'd sit down and do their homework. I'd have to sit down there too and see that they finish their homework. And I did that all the way through university, just so they had their company. Not that I could do the work when they went to the different courses in university, but they had the comfort of knowing I was there and I was interested and I wanted them to finish their work. What did I do about misbehavior? Well, maybe I cut the pocket money, trying to think back as my children are big now. I cut the pocket money? They didn't like that. They always had their eye on things they wanted to buy with their pocket money. But I felt that the best things, I think the most successful things, were rewards. I remember putting stars on the, like they had a chart in their bedroom, I put stars there. In respective bedrooms, if they did something really well, a star would go up, and that would be an incentive so they could count their stars at the end of the week, the end of the month. Maybe if they have X amount of stars, they'd get a treat. So I tried to think of positive things, keep them going. Didn't want to administer physical punishment. And then they were with me all the day because they were at Peter and Paul. I was at Peter and Paul. Then they went to Campion, so I was always there to keep an eye on them. Maybe I was fortunate. But I'm sure there's somebody who could share something with us. Mrs. Brown, how do you discipline your children? Anything to share with us? I see Miss Getton, is there anything to share with us? I see Liam Trusty's name up there. Mummy, anything to share with us? Mrs. Dudley, I can't believe that no one is going to share. I've shared so much with you. Miss Jones, how do you manage the little ones? Miss Shaw, any positive discipline you can give us in the classroom? Wow. Oh, I see. Good. Time out is given. Okay, no TV or games. I like that. Because they don't like to be the TV to be taken away or the games to be taken away. That is good. It's not too harsh. Anybody give reward? Put it in the chat. Maybe you can't talk. I don't know if this is not my system. I don't know if Mrs. Brown has you all muted. Anybody else want to put in the chat so I can see it? What other rewards are given? Ramon, what do you do? Isn't that Ramon there? Ramon, you can't put something down for me? What do you do with rain? Somebody's going to give us some little hints. Good. We have a participant. Punishment, cut playtime. Good. Like that one. Mr. Mitchell. Nice. Are you going to give us any good tips? I see somebody in front of me. Any good tips to give us? Any good discipline tips? How do you rise, lead, and be wise? Extra playtime. If they're doing good, oh, thank you, yes. Extra playtime. Reward, extend the playtime, it works, yeah. Extend the playtime you give them, that works. They'll certainly want to behave to get more playtime. So we're getting some tips. Reward, oh, wow, I like this one. Reward for good grades, hotel vacation. We'd all like that, mummy, daddy, and children. So it's in your interest that children get good grades. And grades will be coming up now. Any other ideas? Teachers, what do you do in the classroom? What are your incentives? Well, we've had a few ideas. Anybody would like to talk about their parenting style? What is their parenting style and how does it fit in with the discipline their children? No? Well, I can say thank you for the few ideas that we've been given. Oh, Open commendations, yes. Children like to be commended, same as big people. Yeah, that works. You see something good, if your child has done something good, commend the child. And if it's not so good, don't be so harsh. Say, how can we make it better? What can we do next time so that your grade is better? Oh, certificates as rewards, yes. Put them in the bedroom then, miss? Do you hang them up? I think it's good if you hang them up so they see what they've been rewarded for. Oh, yes. Because I can remember when mine were young, the bedroom was like a museum with all the things on the wall, including when they were learning to read. And I put up all of the book I remember at that time was Janet and John. So all the Janet and John vocabulary went over the fridge, went over the bedroom, and all of the other things, the ice cream sign. So when they went out, they could read the ice cream sign. So they learned to read quite well by the age 4, my children. So signs are good. Can think of making certificates. The children can even make their own. They're better than us. They're more technology minded than we are. But they like to be recognized. They like to be commended. And we should do our best to see that they are. They're gradually better human beings. And then they'll do the same for their children. Just recently I did bullying in grade 5. And what we learned was that a bully has often been bullied himself or herself. So we don't want to see anything like that happen to our children. So that in the tips for good discipline, the little talks you have every day, the positive moments you have with your children every day, that they can talk to you. And you know what is important? To ask them if they feel comfortable in every part of the school. I remember asking mine about the bathroom. Are they comfortable in the bathroom? Anything they're not comfortable with. Engage your child all the time in that kind of conversation. And you find out so much. It's important, it's necessary. What about their friends? Find out as much as you can about their friends. And I always tell my grade 6, I've been doing, I think the last class I did with the grade 6 was illegal drugs, and I was telling them about going to high school. And they're going to be with all sorts of different children when they go to high school. They have to be prepared and they have to have their skills to say no. And you help to reinforce it at home. So many challenges they face. Some of the children go to high school and the first thing they find out their things are being stolen. They leave the comforting zone of the prep school and then to this big high school. So we have to prepare them for future life. So parents, I think I shared with you. Doesn't seem to be any more sharing from you, but I appreciate what you have given us. And we see if we can do more things to help our children, help them to become more rounded, see that we know exactly what is happening, especially when they go to high school. Engage them in that positive few minutes every day. So I'll get the tips scanned and send it to teachers so they could send it to you. So I apologize again that we didn't have our facilitator here. I don't know who crashed into the post in Ligony, but there must be a lot of disappointed people in Ligony without internet. So I'm going to ask Miss Jones. Oh, we've got something else. Oh, good. Yeah, I'll get them. I'll make certain I get them. Let me just show you what they look like. And this. So here they are. Good tips for discipline. So I'll get that done and get that to you for next week. and you can read through it and hopefully apply it to your children and make better children, better parents. So I'm now going to ask Miss Sasha Jones if she could please move the vote of thanks. Is Miss Jones there? Yes, I can see Miss Jones.
Okay. Mrs. Taylor.
I know I don't have the presenter, but you'll have people to thank.
Okay. Good night, everyone. On behalf of Our Ladies of the Angels Preparatory School, first of all, let's give God thanks for making today's event possible. I am immensely thankful to Mrs. Taylor for putting together this presentation. Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. Thanks to Ms. Carnegie for her warm welcome and for sharing a lovely parent poem with us today. I would like to say thank you to Mrs. Powell-Brown for hosting this webinar on her device and for creating the flyer for us today. Thank you, Mrs. Powell-Brown. A big thank you to all the parents and guardians who are watching us live today, presenting to you. We thank you. Without you, this presentation could not have been possible. So we thank you very much for your participation today. All right.
Thank you, Miss Jones. And once again, parents, I'm sorry that we did not have Dr. Shields, but I'm certain you understand that in the best of times, something happened. And this is the first time I've had a session, a parenting workshop, and something has happened to the facilitator. And I knew at 6:10. So I did my best, and I hope you found it a little bit helpful. And I make certain I get the things copied and sent to you by next week. And hopefully they will help you. So before we have the national anthem, I'm asking your mighty and eternal Father to bless and protect you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and guide you and keep you and bless you and your children and help you to become better parents, better guardians, and the children to be better brothers and sisters. And we just pray all this in God's name. So can we stand for the national anthem, please? Mrs. Brown, you have it for us, please? Thank you, Mrs. Brown, and good night again, parents. And do try to rise, lead, and be wise. God bless you all. Good night.